Macabre Cast.
The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Doc Mark and Chorus, the Little Mummy, here to bring you another episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping R's where they belong and adding them where they don't. Newbies, welcome. Returning monster kids, welcome back. And worshippers, get out of here. What's going on, Karis? Welcome back.
The air is getting crisper, we're getting closer to Halloween, and I'm in a pretty good mood today. But Doc, why do skeletons have such low esteem?
Gee, I don't know, Karis. Why do skeletons have low self-esteem?
They have no body to love.
On that note, it's time for horror news.
Life's river shall rise. She said.
Terrifier 3 premiered at Fantastic Fest last week to a very positive review. Greenlighting Terrifier 4. And rumors of Courtney Cox returning to Scream 7, but she has yet to sign on. Freddie Prinze Jr., however, has officially signed on to be in the next new I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel. Hayride to Hell, starring Kane Jason Hodder and Bill Chop Top Mosley, dropped September 24th, just in time for Halloween. It's a slow news week. So that's it for horror news.
She said.
And Brownie agrees. Brownie, the corpse-sniffing dog.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Don't forget, Monster Kids, let us know what you'll be watching this Halloween season.
Right, Karis. That and pics of their horror merch and or Halloween costumes. And I will be showing quite soon some pictures that Tina from Chicago sent in. But first, my Halloween movie recommendation for this year. Die, Monster Die from 1965, starring Boris Karloff, my favorite, and Nick Godzilla vs. Monster Zero Adams. The tagline for this one is, "No one can stop this killing machine. It's already dead." Nick Adams plays Steven, a scientist who goes to a small town to visit Susan, his fiancée. Karloff is her wheelchair-bound father who has discovered a meteorite that is emitting rays of radiation. And before you can say the lonely death of Jody Verrill, it's turning his plants in the green room into giants. But when his wife falls prey to this outer space power, Karloff takes to trying to destroy the glowing menace with horrific results. Due to back problems, they had written the wheelchair part into the script to help Karloff. The world would sadly lose him 4 years after this film, but this wasn't his last hurrah. That would be the film Targets in 1968, which truly deserves a deep death dive. Die Monster Die is based on the H.P. Lovecraft story The Color Out of Space. And for 1965, it does a pretty good job. The train station is called Arkham, after the fictional town created by Lovecraft. So you heard The Little Mummy. Halloween is coming up fast. Let us know what you plan to watch this season, or maybe what you recommend.
It's my kind of town.
As promised, here they are. Tina from Chicago sends pictures of past Halloween costumes. Looks like her daughter Violet and some horror merch. And letting everybody know that Cinema Salem is showing some classic horror movies this October. That's if you want to go into that completely overcrowded city in October to see a film.
Those were so cool, Chicago Tina. Thanks.
Hey, Doc, Mark, and Karis, Hard Chat Matt checking in. Doc, I agree with you 100%. The Invisible Man reboot was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an excellent modern-day retelling of a classic, and I hope we can say the same thing about the Wolfman once we finally get to see it. Doc, with Halloween right around the corner, I'm curious what your favorite all-time Halloween candy is. For me, you can't go wrong with the Kit Kat any time of the year. But for my money, the best Halloween candy that I love to steal out of my daughter's Halloween bucket is the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Pumpkin. It just has the perfect combination of chocolate with a little extra peanut butter that you don't normally get in a regular peanut butter cup. Anyways, Stark, keep bringing the macabre to all your Legions and Monster Kids as we look forward to each and every week's episode.
Hard Chat, you should either knock or ring the bell. I don't think you need to do both. I know Karis is slow, but the kind of candy I like, it's amazing. I even have teeth.
You have teeth?
I love Smarties, and I don't just mean like the kind of Smarties you get at Market Basket. It's the sour kind, and they're really tough to find. You could find them in Rockport. Rockport used to always have them, and now I can't find them there either, so I'm taken to ordering them on Amazon. But those, I just love those. That and Sweet Tarts, Sprees, probably Pixie Sticks, the most sugary thing you could be putting in your mouth, which is why I'm surprised my teeth haven't rotted out, because that's the kind of candy I eat all the time. Watch out for dark chocolate, Hard Chat, because after years and years of them telling us how good it was for you, now they're saying it's not that good. I like chocolate, but I don't eat too much of it. Kit Kats are cool. Hershey bar once in a while with almonds in it, but yeah, not too big of a chocolate fan.
Why do you like Halloween so much?
There's always Halloween in my soul.
Deep Death Dive. Today's Deep Death Dive is a Hammer film that doesn't star Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing. It's not part of any of Hammer's rebooted Dracula, Frankenstein, Mummy, or Wolfman character sequels.
You know what a vampire is?
Yes. I've heard of vampire bats.
No, not bats. Vampires. Human vampires.
The kiss of the vampire.
From 1963, this standalone gem is about an elite, rich bunch of cult vampires. Gerald and Mary Ann Harcourt are driving through Europe on their honeymoon when their car runs out of gas. And the car, by the way, was loaned by like a museum of classic cars to Hammer. A Dion Bouton Model Q that was made in 1903. And the film takes place in 1910. So they have the car towed to the nearest hotel, and while in their room, a letter from a Dr. Ravna arrives inviting them to dine. The hotel owners explain that Dr. Ravna's table is the best in the country, so they decide to go. After a charming evening of music with Dr. Ravna and his son and daughter, they are invited to a masquerade ball the following night. It's here where the couple are distracted and separated. Marianne has unwillingly become a new disciple, and Gerald wakes up the next day with no memory of what happened. There is no evidence of a party, and everybody denies the existence or knowledge of Marianne, trying to tell them that he came there by himself, that they've never seen any Marianne. Now, note to the Gen Zs out there, this is actual gaslighting. This is gaslighting by definition. For some reason nowadays, the Gen Z, if someone says, "Did you steal this $10?" and you lie and say no when you did, which you're lying because you don't want to get caught, they'll call that gaslighting. This clear example of gaslighting. And so back at the hotel room, even all of Marianne's clothes and personal items are gone. And on another note, there are many variations of this film, and hopefully you have access to the Blu-ray, because a lot of copies out there are television versions where, the entire climax has been cut pretty much from this film on the TV version. So if you can get a hold of the Blu-ray, it's the best uncut version. But no matter what Hammer does, they can never get the vampire bats right. And, if you've seen any of the Dracula films out there, they're the worst and fakest looking bats you could find. The bats in this film were all bought from a local Woolworths. And again, for Gen Z out there, Woolworths back in the day, in the 60s, was the Walmart of today. Universal Pictures delayed the release of this film so that comparison could not be made to Hitchcock's The Birds. Look, guys, I'm pretty sure you had nothing to worry about on the comparison front. So, again, definitely a must-see. The Kiss of the Vampire from 1963, a one-off by Hammer.
Grim Kim is back this week with Grim Facts, and I just want to say she recently had a birthday. Happy birthday, Grim.
Yes, happy birthday, Grim Kim. And here's the Grim Facts.
Grim Facts.
Hi, Dark Mark. Hi, Little Karis. How are you? Grim Kim checking in. Sorry I missed last week. I was on my mind and then it went out of my mind. And boy, it's getting more and more difficult to abide with undiagnosed adult ADHD. I'll tell you that. But I've reconciled. It's my fate. It's probably my greatest strength and my worst weakness, I would say, are wrapped up into one. Anyway, enjoying my birthday today. My son came up and we watched Maxine, which was great. He's a horror movie fan too, so it's difficult for us to find things to watch together that we haven't both seen. There's some stuff in the movies that I wanted to go, but I wasn't up to it. My back's kind of crap this week. Maxine was my least favorite of the trilogy. Triple X, Pearl, Maxine. I think a lot of people feel that way. It was good slasher movie. It just left a little to be desired, I suppose. I don't know. There wasn't anything super, super great that jumped out at me about it. A couple things I watched on TV that I really enjoyed. I don't know how I heard about this one, and I was like, what? A 1980 movie I haven't heard of? It was awesome. It was called Godsend. Godsent. It's just called The Godsent.
What you talking about, Kimberly?
Because there's another one called Godsend. Okay, I watched both. The 1981 was awesome. You know how I love my 70s, 80s. The premise of it was really good. It had that 70s flavor to it where the parents are going through this super intense tragedy, but yet somehow they can't keep their hands off each other. And there's one scene where they're in bed with this little changeling type of child. And they're trying to make love next to the child in bed. And the child sits up in bed. I'm thinking, seriously, dear God, this is just cringy. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, I recommend it. It was a great, great story. And the ending was fantastic. What I like about the 70s, 80s movies that I tend to see is they don't always have a happy ending. And most of the time I prefer it that way. This is my issue with I'm not going to see the new Speak No Evil, because the Americanized version they just totally changed the whole story and took away the intensity of the original, which I really, really like and highly recommend the original. Anyway, the second movie, which is God Send, but no the in front of it, 2013, De Niro, Rebecca Romijn, Greg Kinnear is in it. It was an enjoyable story. I would say it was a pretty formulaic one, reminiscent of any other type of movie you've seen, especially with De Niro in later years, where it's like, boy, they're really asking an awful lot of De Niro to carry these type of movies on his damn shoulders. And it's like his characters have like no development to them. And poor guy. I mean, at least he's making a paycheck. And you know what? At least the older actors can actually even find work. So I'm not going to begrudge him any. But, once you like De Niro in like a Taxi Driver type of movie, like everything else is going to pale in comparison. So it probably isn't even fair of me. Would I recommend the second movie? No, not really. Not really. Just to wrap up, it's kind of in the vein of the question that Matt had asked a few weeks ago, if you could take any type of prop off a horror movie set, what would you take? This week, I just saw one that said, if you could visit any horror movie location, where would you want to go? And I think that's a great question. I'd love to hear your answers. I think I'm probably going to go with what I was saying before, which is like the Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte, huge antebellum home, maybe the home set where a Baby Jane, one of those nice California mansions or cool Art Deco houses. I would love to visit something like that. So I'm going to throw that into the ring. Tina, you threw out some awesome recommendations for me. Thank you so much. I put them on my list. There's one I might throw on today. So thank you. I just really love getting these recommendations from you guys. Okay, that's it. Gonna keep it short. I've been just droning on and on lately, and sorry and you're welcome. I don't know. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Great reviews, Grim. Although I've never seen the God Send. Either one, I've never seen.
The God Blend. I'm pretty sure that scene with the making love in front of the child, that's probably illegal in most places.
Karis, we got Scary Larry here chopping at the bit. So let's move on with that, huh?
Wait a minute now. Answer Grim Kim's question. What film location would you most like to visit?
I may keep the same answer. I may go with the hotel from The Shining. Although the real hotel it was based on, there's a real hotel, but a lot of the stuff in the film were set pieces. So I don't know. Maybe the neighborhoods in the town where Halloween was filmed out in California, which was supposed to be Illinois, but is in California.
I'd go with Camp Crystal Lake, the camp where Friday the 13th was filmed. That's where I'd go.
Is this something you can share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Karis the Little Mummy. Scary Larry here, and leave it to me to kick off the spooky season by getting sick. My voice may sound rough, but I'll manage. No movie review this week. However, an origin story. First, I want to explain how I got into horror. Then I have a request. Now, as a kid, I could only handle the so-called monsters of Monster Island or Skull Island, depending on the timeline. I thought those movies were hokey fun, and my favorite to this day has always been Gamera, the flying turtle. Creature Double Feature was a Saturday staple, but those were the ones I watched. Everything else scared the bejeebers out of me. Even the album Billion Dollar Babies, with the cover art of babies in Alice Cooper's makeup, freaked me out and gave me nightmares. To the point my mom made my older brother remove it from the house. Now fast forward to 10, 11 years old, when we had the cable box system called Starcase. You got one movie in the afternoon and a couple movies in the evening. My mom and I watched a movie called The Stuntman. Now, this was more action drama than horror. A convict escaped a prison and ended up on a movie set and was mistaken for the new stuntman they hired, and he chose to pretend he knew what he was doing to keep his identity a secret. There was a pivotal scene where the film crew was shooting a military battle on a beach. As the battle cleared, you saw mangled bodies and a lot of blood. Then the director yelled, "Cut!" and the extras started to stand up and started pulling off the prosthetic limbs and cleaning off all the blood and guts. And a light bulb went off in my head. How cool. I wanted to know how it was done. I soon discovered Fangoria magazine, and I began researching Tom Savini, Rick Baker, and the like, becoming more enamored in FX and gore. Also, about this time, the latest, greatest new thing exploded: video rental stores, where you could rent movies on VHS, and I would walk or ride my bicycle one town over to rent yet another horror flick. Now, I got lucky. My mom absolutely loved horror, and I credit her with introducing it to me. Her and I would watch them, and I remember vividly working up the courage to watch what was touted as a time the greatest, scariest gore fest, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I finally rented it, and I remembered as I'm watching Leatherface dancing in the street, twirling the chainsaw, and the credits began to roll, thinking, that's it? That's the scariest movie? Huh. Mom and I spent many weekend nights either renting or watching Elvira's movie Macabre, chuckling at how she trashed the movies between scenes, and maybe enjoying staring at her assets. So that's how I got the horror bug. And I reminisce on that brief connection with my mom that her and I shared for all things love of all things horror. Now I'm requesting the other Monster Kids to give tales of how they got into horror. Grim Kim, Horror Chat Matt, Tina from Chicago. Now, not to mention our illustrious host, Dark Mark. Let's kick off the season properly and give me those tales.
Excellent, Scary. Well, you heard it, Monster Kids. Scary Larry wants to hear how you became interested in horror. That should be for episode 74. How did you, the Monster Kids, become interested in horror films? Great show this week. Thanks, guys. Until next time, stay on the road, keep clear of the moors, and beware the moon. But most of all, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon.
This is a Macabre Theater production.
Oh, Lordy frickin' God!